Imagine waking up and your house is literally on fire. Not a metaphor. Real fire. Outside, thousands of soldiers are waiting to kill you. This was the exact reality for the legendary warlord Oda Nobunaga in 1582 during the Hannoji incident. Betrayed by his own general, completely surrounded and facing certain death. By all modern biological standards, his body should have been paralyzed by a massive, heart-stopping flood of cortisol. Panic, screaming, hyperventilation. But history tells us he didn't do any of that. Instead, he quietly retreated to an inner room, composed himself, and calmly sang a traditional poem before ending his own life on his own terms. How is that biologically possible? How did the ancient Japanese maintain such absolute control over their nervous systems while facing swords, starvation, and constant war? And more importantly, why is your cortisol currently spiking just because your boss sent you an email at 9 p.m.? We live in the safest time in human history, yet our nervous systems are completely destroyed. You are swimming in cortisol right now. It's making you exhausted, it's storing fat around your stomach, and it's giving you that constant low-level hum of anxiety that never goes away. You've probably tried to fix it. You've tried deep breathing. You've watched the morning routine videos. You've tried relaxing. But here is the brutal truth that ancient Zen masters knew centuries ago. Trying to relax actually causes more stress. Think about it. When you tell yourself, "I need to calm down," you are signaling to your brain that there is a threat you need to escape from. So your brain pumps more cortisol to help you fight that invisible threat. The Japanese didn't try to escape stress. They weaponized it. If you watch this video to the end, I'm going to show you exactly how they did it. I'm going to give you 3 ancient, biologically proven protocols to crush your cortisol levels and take back control of your ruined nervous system. But first, we need to look at a shocking experiment from 1962 that proves everything we know about stress is backwards. In the early 1960s, researchers at Tokyo University wanted to understand the brains of Zen monks. These monks would sit in freezing temperatures for hours, completely unfazed. The scientists hooked them up to early EEG machines to monitor their brain waves while they meditated. To test their startle response, the researchers randomly blasted a massive, deafening noise into the room. If you did this to a normal person, their alpha brain waves would vanish, their amygdala would light up, and their cortisol would spike for hours. But watch what happened with the monks. The noise went off. Their brain waves registered the sound for exactly 3 seconds. And then, total baseline. No cortisol spike. No lingering anxiety. No mental storytelling about the noise. They didn't block the stress out. They let it pass entirely through them like wind through a ruined house. This brings us to the first ancient protocol you must understand. The law of the Hara. In ancient Japan, they didn't believe the mind was located in the brain. They believed the center of human consciousness and the seat of all power was located 2 inches below the navel. They called it the Hara, or the tendon. When a samurai was facing down an enemy, his master wouldn't yell, "Calm down." He would yell, "Drop your weight into your Hara." Modern science has finally caught up to why this is a literal cheat code for lowering cortisol. When you are stressed, you breathe from your upper chest. Chest breathing sends an immediate biological signal to your brain that you are in danger, triggering the sympathetic nervous system. More cortisol floods your veins, but when you force your breathing down into your stomach, into the Hara, you physically stimulate the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the emergency brake for your cortisol production. By physically pushing your stomach out with every breath, you are chemically forcing your brain to shut off the stress response. Right now, as you watch this, drop your focus to your stomach. Breathe in, push your stomach out against your belt, and let the air fall out slowly. You will literally feel the cortisol drain from your shoulders in real time. But physical breathing is only the first layer. Because what happens when the stress is emotional? What happens when your life actually feels ruined? This leads to the second protocol, and it involves a man who was ordered to commit seppuku, ritual suicide. His name was Sen no Rikyu. He was the most famous tea master in Japanese history. He crossed the wrong warlord, and he was sentenced to die. On the morning of his execution, he didn't panic. He didn't write frantic letters. He invited his closest friends into his tea room. He calmly boiled the water. He meticulously whisked the matcha. He served his guests with absolute, terrifying presence. He then drank his own tea, smashed his cup so no one else could use the cup of a condemned man, and walked out to his death. How could his cortisol be that low on the day of his murder? The answer lies in the chemistry of the ritual itself. We now know that matcha, the specific green tea used in these ceremonies, contains a massive amount of an amino acid called L-theanine. Modern clinical trials have proven that L-theanine actively crosses the blood-brain barrier. It literally binds to the receptors in your brain that trigger anxiety, blocking the cortisol from taking hold. The samurai knew this instinctively. Warlords would force their generals to sit for a 2-hour tea ceremony right before riding into a massive slaughter. They weren't doing it to be polite. They were biologically doping their nervous systems. By drinking the high-grade matcha and focusing intensely on the exact, precise movements of the ritual, they forced their brains into a flow state. But you don't need to drink tea to use this protocol. The secret here is radical, microscopic presence. When your cortisol is spiking because you are obsessing over the past or terrified of the future, you have lost the present moment. The Japanese counter this with ikigo ikie, one time, one meeting. Whatever you are doing right now, washing a dish, walking to your car, typing an email, shrink your entire universe down to that one action. Focus on the temperature of the water, the sound of the keys. Your brain physically cannot produce high levels of cortisol when it is 100% engaged in a current, non-threatening sensory task. It breaks the anxiety loop instantly. But what if the environment itself is the problem? This brings us to the final and most powerful ancient secret. For centuries, a secretive sect of Japanese mountain ascetics called the Yamabushi would disappear into the deep cedar forests. They claimed the forest had the power to wash away human suffering and purify the mind. It sounds like mystical poetry, right? Wrong. It's hard science. In the 1980s, the Japanese government funded a massive study into a practice called Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. Researchers took deeply stressed, overworked businessmen from Tokyo, men whose cortisol levels were dangerously high. They simply made them walk in a cedar forest for 30 minutes. They didn't exercise. They didn't meditate. They just stood there. The results shocked the medical world. Their cortisol levels dropped by 16%. Their blood pressure plummeted. Their immune cell count spiked. Why? Because ancient trees release airborne essential oils called phytoncides to protect themselves from insects and rot. When humans breathe in these specific chemicals, it acts as a literal off switch for the human sympathetic nervous system. The ancient Yamabushi weren't just doing spiritual retreats. They were instinctively hacking their biology using the forest chemical defense system. So look at your life right now. You need to override your nervous system the ancient way. Drop your breath to your hara. Focus microscopically on a single task to break the anxiety loop and get your body into nature to chemically shut down the stress response. By taking control of your nervous system, you aren't just getting healthier. You are rebelling. You are becoming unshakable. I want to know what is currently burning your house down. Go to the comments right now and tell me exactly what is spiking your cortisol today. Is it your job? Is it a relationship? Is it feeling behind in life? Write it down, get it out of your head, and leave it there. Then try one of these 3 protocols today. If this reality check actually gave you a solution instead of cheap motivation, subscribe to the channel. We are building a community of people who are taking their minds back. I'll see you in the next one. Stay grounded.